Today, I want to talk to you about a command of Jesus that was really extreme, but strangely, in some ways, it didn't go far enough. I want to direct you to the great words of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, verses 29 and 30, where Jesus said this: "If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell." I once heard an outstanding Bible teacher speak on this very text, and I'll always remember what he said. He said this: "I wish Jesus had never said this." Now, I know that might sound irreverent, but as he explained, I understood him completely. You see, he had once dealt with someone who had disfigured himself based on a misunderstanding of this passage. The words that were so misunderstood were these words: "If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out." Now, understood correctly, we see that Jesus used a figure of speech. Now, sadly, some have not taken it so, and they've mutilated themselves in a mistaken effort to pursue holiness. A famous early Christian named Origen castrated himself on the principle of this passage. Now, the trouble with a literal interpretation of this is not only does it lead to bodily harm, but the real problem is that it does not go far enough. Friend, even if you cut off your hand or pluck out your eye, you could still sin with your other hand or your other eye. And when those are all gone, you can always sin with your mind. Like most Bible passages, it's best to keep reading to get the real sense of the meaning. Jesus went on to say this: "It is more profitable for you than one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell." Jesus stressed the point that we must be willing to sacrifice if we will obey God. If part of our life is given over to sin, we must be convinced that it is better for that part of our life to die rather than for it to condemn our whole life. Now, many people are unwilling to do this, and that is why they remain trapped in sin, or why they never come to Jesus. They never get beyond a vague wish to be better. With this dramatic figure of speech, Jesus reminded us that vague wishes aren't enough. Now, you've heard of the dramatic stories of the man or the woman trapped with an arm pinned under a massive rock or a tree, and faced with the choice between losing an arm or losing their life. The man or the woman gains courage to make the terrible decision to do the necessary thing, to trade their arm for their life. Now, without performing the act, which, as we've seen before, doesn't go far enough, Jesus told us to have the same attitude of sacrifice for the sake of obedience and following Him. Something this great can only begin to happen as Jesus does His work in us. Today, a good prayer to pray is, "Jesus, work in me the willingness to sacrifice in the struggle against sin." Can you make that kind of prayer today? And walk before the Lord as He gives you the opportunity to.